Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GM. It is your guy, Boulanger. Up next on the GM, we're going to be discussing should John Harbaugh be on the hot seat in 2023. Do me a quick favor as we get started. Hit like if it is your first time checking out the GM. Hit subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that you get updates when we upload new content. Let's go. So, I know you guys may be thinking, Boulanger, why now? Why getting ready to go into the 2023 season are you discussing should John Harbaugh be on the hot seat? Well, that's a great question. Here's your answer. You see, because the 2023 season is a season where we all have great expectations, maybe even unlike we've had over the last 5 years of the Lamar Jackson era. Okay. And with great expectation comes a determination of if John Harbaugh is the right guy to continue to do this job for the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh is the third uh, longest tenured coach. I believe it's Bill Belichick, um, Mike Tomlin, and then John Harbaugh. I believe that's the order. And so the question is John Harbaugh still the right guy for this job? Okay. And I'm going to give you three reasons why the Baltimore Ravens should move on from John Harbaugh if the Baltimore Ravens do not reach the AFC Championship. You see, I didn't even say Super Bowl. Some of us, most of us, have Super Bowl aspirations for the Baltimore Ravens. There's been a lot of buzz after Lamar Jackson got his deal that they brought in Zay, they brought in Odell, they brought in Aguilar. So a lot of us have Super Bowl aspirations, but I'm just simply saying on the back of the head coach, right? He has to lead this team to a minimum of the AFC Championship, or he must go. Okay. Here's my first reason why he must go if the Baltimore Ravens do not reach an AFC Championship. Reason number one: John Harbaugh has been historically a poor in-game decision maker. And if we just look at the last 5 years, we can pick out at least 8 to 10 different instances where John Harbaugh kicks versus going for it, punts versus kicking. Kicking means the field goal. Going forward versus kicking the field goal, meaning in-game decision making has failed him, and it's left the Baltimore Ravens with losses versus wins. And we can attest to this simply because there's been multiple times where we as a fan base question his play calling, question his in-game decision making. There's been multiple times where John Harbaugh has been questioned in a post-game interview where he's questioned about the decision to go for it, the decision to kick, the decision to punt, rather than doing the other thing. And I know it's in game, it's immediate, it's instant, it's kind of an either or, make this decision or the other. But there's been at least 8 to 10 different decisions that have costed the Baltimore Ravens a chance to win the game on a decision that John Harbaugh made. Okay, it doesn't make him a bad guy. It doesn't make him not a good coach. It just makes his in-game decision making poor. And there's no other decision, okay, that's worse than this play I'm going to show you. It's the infamous play that we probably remember that sealed last year for the Baltimore Ravens. Let's take a look.
Puts him right around Huntley. He reaches. Oh, that ball's out. That's live. That's the other way. Sam Hubbard, the Cincinnati Kid. Hubbard's got a convoy. Chased by Andrews. At the 30, the 20.
And it's over.
He will score.
Now, I know you might be saying, Belanger, why would you put that on John Harbaugh? Well, because John Harbaugh should have had the final decision on that particular play call. Okay. With understanding that Greg Roman was the OC, Tyler Huntley was the quarterback who actually fumbled the ball. In that kind of late game scenario, there should have been no play call that goes into that game inside the 2 yard line that John Harbaugh is not aware of. Okay? I get it. It is a solid play call for to do a quarterback sneak inside the 2 yard line, but not with Tyler Huntley. Tyler Huntley did not have any of those late game scenario situations where he had to put on the Superman vest, the Superman cape, so to speak, and do something he had never been asked to do. He had never been asked to quarterback sneak on the goal line. Tyler Huntley, with understanding, is a quarterback who's less than 210 pounds. Okay? When Tyler Huntley, who is a good runner, when he typically runs the ball, he runs off the edge, not up the middle. Okay? And additionally, when Tyler Huntley has ran the ball up the middle, it has been on a pass play where the run lane comes open and he takes off. It's not a situation where he was just doing the same type of quarterback dives and things like that as Lamar Jackson. And even Lamar Jackson, the franchise quarterback, he does not QB sneak well either. So what makes us think we should have put the ball in Tyler Huntley's hands in that kind of game scenario, especially when you have J.K. Dobbins, who have been running really well. You have a big back in Gus Edwards. You have a 300 plus pound fullback. If you're going to slam it up the middle, you have a 305-pound fullback who also can be used in short yardage. But we put that in a small quarterback who does not have that kind of game experience. This is the reason why J.K. Dobbins was upset after the game, saying the ball should have been in my hands. He wanted the ball. You see, when John Harbaugh okays that call, he then signs off on everything else that is to happen after that. You see, but there's been, like I said, historical context and examples for John Harbaugh making poor in-game decisions. That's reason number one. Reason number two, John Harbaugh has been a slow decision maker. Two primary examples. One is with all of the allegations and rumors that had been servicing for a couple of years before he moved on from his training staff or his strength and conditioning staff. Those rumors had been swirling around about the improprieties of that group for a number of years, but way before John Harbaugh made a decision to move on from him. The question would have been if John Harbaugh had moved on earlier, right? How many guys would have been healthy? How many careers would have been changed? Just ask Derek Wolf. Just ask him. Ask Quincy Abajayo. I think I pronounced his name correctly. I mean, there's tons of guys who've come out and made allegations against that um, strength and conditioning staff. Why wouldn't John Harbaugh looked into it deeper, made a decision to move on earlier? Slow decision making. You see, Greg Roman came in 2019. Lamar Jackson went and won the MVP, right? He came back in 2020. They did okay. But we could clearly see after 2020 when Lamar Jackson first said, hey, the defense knows our plays. That didn't alert John Harbaugh that something needed to change maybe at the OC position. Okay, so let's say John Harbaugh did move on in 2020, but 2021 came and the offense grinded to a halt in the middle of that season, way before Lamar Jackson got hurt. When we jumped to 2022, that offense started off fast and grinded to a halt way before Lamar Jackson got hurt. Go check out the Carolina Panthers game. Go check out the Denver game in which he got hurt. Check out the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Check out all those games. You'll see that that offense had ground to a halt, even so much to John Harbaugh had to begin to be asked and answer questions about Greg Roman and his play calling. Reporters began to ask post-game questions in 2021 and 2022, but it was evident that Greg Roman had basically um, expired. His game, his offensive scheme had expired after the 2020 season. So even if they gave him one more season, it was clear that a decision to move on from Greg Roman should have been made. But it wasn't. Slow to make decisions. And it's costed the Baltimore Ravens. Okay? And then the biggest reason, and I'm going to tie it all up after this reason, the biggest reason is John Harbaugh should have already been gone. John Harbaugh came aboard either in 2008 or 2009, I believe 2008, won the Super Bowl in 2012. Okay. I believe a head coach gets about 3 years to kind of regroup and rebuild and reestablish talent. And by that fourth year, that team needs to be back in contention in some way, shape, or form. Okay. But that didn't happen for the Baltimore Ravens. See, the reason why I say 3 years, and this is holistically, not just a Baltimore Ravens thing, 3 years to rebuild. Um, that's typically three first round draft picks. That's three second round draft picks. That's three third round draft picks. That's nine players that should be integral in the building of a new team, plus some veterans, things like that. That fourth year, they should be ready to go. You see, even if you got a brand new quarterback, right? By that third year, he should be ready to go. But when you look at the 2013, this is post Super Bowl, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 17. When you look at those, when you look at those records, if you look up at the screen, you'll see the records from those seasons: 8-8, 10-6, 5-11, 8-8, and 9-7. When you do all of that math, the Baltimore Ravens are 40-40 in a 5 year span. They are a 500 team. It doesn't get no more average than that. And to make it worse, other than being a 500 team, 2017, 16, and 15, the Baltimore Ravens missed the playoffs. Now, if that doesn't say it's time for John Harbaugh to go, I don't know what does. See, this is not a personal attack or saying he's a bad guy, anything like that. It was just time for him to go. John Harbaugh has lived with immunity, Super Bowl immunity, for 11 years post Super Bowl. And if we're honest, the Baltimore Ravens haven't really been close to really contending, even in the Lamar Jackson era under John Harbaugh's leadership. Now, I'm not saying that's all John Harbaugh, but the first two reasons speak to John Harbaugh's deficits. And then his record says that he should have already been gone. Okay. And then, if we're honest, in 2018, the Baltimore Ravens started off well, but they lost and they lost again and they lost again and they went into the bye week. Okay. This is the Lamar Jackson season, 2018. They went into the bye week. And you would have thought they would have regrouped in the bye week and came out and got a win, and they didn't. They lost again. The Baltimore Ravens were headed for a front row seat to the television to watch everybody else play in the playoffs that year, unless Lamar Jackson got in the game and won and kept on winning and ran them and threw them into the playoffs. John Harbaugh was going to have a fourth consecutive season without a Super Bowl, without a playoff berth. And that's a fact. You can go check all the records. You can go check it. And so this is not even a right now thing where I'm saying John Harbaugh is a poor in-game decision maker. We've seen that for years. We've complained about it for a number of years. He's slow to make decisions. The Ravens as an organization have been slow to make decisions. We've seen that for years. And then based on his overall performance, he up until the time Lamar Jackson got there, he was a 500 coach. That does not justify a 500 coach who had missed the playoffs 3 consecutive years. That does not justify a new contract or any extension of the job. Does not. So what I'm saying in summation is if the Baltimore Ravens don't reach the AFC Championship with a revamped offense, with a new OC, see, I'm not even giving any leeway for the OC and the offense to jail. Because if this is the best offensive weaponry and maybe OC that they've had, and Lamar Jackson has had them in playoff contention every single year, including the years he got hurt. The Baltimore Ravens were in contention before he got hurt. So if Lamar Jackson and his abilities were able to do that with less weaponry, they should be even more potent offensively this season. That means John Harbaugh and his decision making has to get out of the way and make decisions that's progressive for the Ravens and not detrimental for the Ravens. So not only am I going to have Lamar Jackson, this offense, uh, under the microscope, I'm also going to have John Harbaugh under the microscope because if he doesn't get it done this year, he must go. I'm Miguel Boulanger. Let me know what you want me to know in the comment section, and we're out.